This weekend I checked out Fist Stick Knife Gun by Jeffrey Canada. It's a personal history of violence, and it was adapted to comic book form by Jamar Nichols. I'm sorry, Jamar Nicholas. It's a really good book. It started off as Jeffrey Canada's memoir, and Jeffrey Canada is the president and CEO of the Harlem Children's Zone, a nonprofit community-based organization. It's deemed one of the most ambitious social experiments of our time. That's cool. And this work has been praised by President Barack Obama, and Michelle Obama called him one of her heroes. So you probably don't need me to tell you about this book, but I'm going to anyway because it was a really great read. It's about a young man. It starts when he's about 4. It's about the author, right? When he's about 4, and it goes through the story of how he was first exposed to violence, what sort of pushed him into that direction, and how he found his way, or started to find his way out of it. Having grown up in the suburbs, I'm certainly not qualified to talk about the content of the book, although I'm sure that Jeffrey Canada is a trustworthy narrator, so that part of it I will just leave to you. But what I would like to say is two things about the art and writing of the book. So first of all, because it was a memoir and was converted or adapted to graphic novel form, it's really unusual in terms of a comic book. So when you have Aquaman and Mera talking or in a scene together, Aquaman doesn't, there isn't a narrator who says, and that's when I felt like Mera and I should kiss, and then Aquaman kisses Mera. You just would have sort of this look in Aquaman's eyes, and then he'd do something. Or if Mera wanted to say, "Oh, Aquaman," the narrator wouldn't say, and then Mera said, "Oh, Aquaman." You just have sort of this talk bubble in which Mera would say, "Oh, Aquaman." So, this book, as an adaptation, had a lot of narration, so you can see a lot. There we go, a lot of narration. Narration. There's a talk bubble. More narration. And so, even as the feelings that characters were feeling were sort of expressively displayed on their faces, you have this sort of narrator saying what the main character felt. It also wasn't an omniscient narrator, which we often have in comic books. Someone who's there, who knows what time and what day it is, knows how everyone's feeling, knows what everyone's thinking. We really see the story as a memoir, as someone looking back and reflecting on his experience and his choices and the way he moved through the world when he was young. And so I think that provides a sense of naivete to the characters as we see them walking through. So someone is saying, "Oh, and then I did this and this," and you see them do that, and then you say, "And then I felt this," but you can also see the characters not, that main character isn't acting on his feelings, he isn't talking about his feelings, it's that the narrator recognizes that he'd had those sort of feelings at the time, and the whole effect is very neat, and it really makes the character much more interesting than it would if they had sort of adapted it and followed the traditional comic book form. You wouldn't have had the feeling that it was a memoir. And also the writer obviously learned things growing up. If he grew up in the South Bronx in the 60s and dealt with violence and dealt with kind of trying to succeed in a world where you're expected to fight at a drop of a hat, and now he's the president and CEO of this Harlem's Children's Zone project, and so you can see the character learning, and you wouldn't have been able to see that without that narrator. So I thought that was a really cool effect, and I just wanted to share this book with you, so go check it out. If they have it at my library, they'll have it at yours, and I bet the memoir is great, but get the comic book edition. Okay, bye.